it is time to dive into the lore of the Mursaat, or at least all the lore that has been revealed with the latest lore post on the Guild Wars 2 blog. So, pull up a chair and let's dive into some wonderful Guild Wars 2 lore with me, Fornex. Please forgive me for my failing voice. I'm still recovering from 2 months of flu, which has been really rough. But let's dive into it. The Unseen Ones, a primer on the Mursaat. Our second major update for Guild Wars 2 Gently Wells is coming on January 11th. We'll be sharing many details about what to expect soon. Actually, my Repentance blog post and read is here if you want to dive into it. Today, we'd like to spend some time recapping the known lore surrounding the nefarious and mysterious Mursaat. Brushing up on their stories will help set the stage for our upcoming release, but with that in mind, there are some story and lore spoilers in this vlog, so proceed with caution. It's sometimes wonderful to go in cold and just discover the story as you play through the game, but it's sometimes nice to be able to eyeball all the secrets and the Easter eggs that the veteran lore nerds like me will be finding. So a refresher is not a very bad thing, and even it's been a very long time since I played through Prophecies, which was the lion's share of the old lore of the Mursaat, and there's so much scope for developing it. So yeah, let's all have a refresher course in the Mursaat. Ancient rivalries. The Mursaat are a species of powerful spellcasters with a long and shadowed history in Tyria. These tall humanoids possess elongated bodies, preferring to float ominously rather than walk. Alongside the dwarves, Jotun, Forgotten, and Seers, the Mursaat are known as an elder race of Tyria, beings who preceded and survived the rise of the Elder Dragons before the events of the original Guild Wars. Yeah, these are old school bad guys. In those ancient times, the Mursaat and the Forgotten allied to subdue Zaitan, but their efforts failed, and the Mursaat resented the other elder races for pulling their support away before the fight had even begun. Sometime after the Elder Dragons returned to their slumber, the Mursaat and the Seers waged war for thousands of years until the Seers were all but extinct. During that war, the Mursaat began using a terrible weapon called spectral agony, which killed its victims while causing them indescribable amounts of pain. A lot of the story in Guild Wars Prophecies focuses around the hero's journey to be able to face the Mursaat, to first of all ascend so that they could see these beings, and then the journey to counter this spectral agony, which led them to one of the few remained seers in Tyria 270 years ago. The rise of the White Mantle. After learning to hide from those without the gift of true sight, the reason for ascension, the Mursaat began manipulating Tyrian events in secret. Lazarus the Dyer was a powerful Mursaat who was instrumental in helping his people influence members of the other sentient races of Tyria. The Mursaat were particularly interested in keeping the Flame Seeker Prophecies, which foretold their eradication by the Titans, from becoming reality. If you're interested in the lore of the Flame Seeker's Prophecies, many moons ago, I made a 3-part series about that here. You want to dive into the lore, it's about the Char, it's an incredible story. Prophecies came out 20 years ago, but my goodness, it came out punching. The story, the epic journey, the fall of nations, everything was in Prophecies. It was extraordinary. Can't recommend the story of Prophecies enough. And you can still play it right now. It still has a small but dedicated community of players supporting it. So yeah, amazing. You can still play Prophecies now. Lazarus chose the human Sol Delesio to form the White Mantle in an effort to rule Krytan as puppets of the Mursaat. The Mursaat helped the Krytans battle against the Char when they were outnumbered and desperate. This assistance came with a price, however. The Mursaat killed any they deemed unworthy, leaving only the most stalwart zealots alive. Saul realized too late that these gods were not the salvation he prayed for, and he was taken away by his unseen masters. So at the time of this happening, the Char are pushing back against humanity. Humanity is a supplanted race of people. They were ushered here by the human gods, Balthazar, Duena, Lissa, Melandru, Abaddon, and Doom. And when they arrived in Tyria, they made war. They made war in the name of Balthazar, and they pushed back the Centaur, the Char, anyone who stood in their way. They claimed the land for themselves, and they made 3 great nations, which was Krytan, Ascalon, and Ora. And in this time of history, when the Mursaat are manipulating Sol Delestio, and you see the rise of the White Mantle, and you see the Bloodstone sacrifices, this is also a time when the machinations of Abaddon come into play, because he is trapped in the realm of torment, behind the door of Kamali, and he wants out. And the Titans are his agents of chaos. And this is where the Char were manipulated by Abaddon and his servants in order to take up the power of the Titans through the shamanic Flame Legion, who took control of Char society, to fight back against the humans and win their land back. And they had decimated Ascalon, but their attack also allowed Vizier Kilbron to destroy Ora and sink that whole land into the ocean. And in the face of their victory, they turned their sights onto the last standing bastion of humanity, which was Krytan. Humanity faced almost certain defeat, but I digress. Even after Saul's abduction, the Mursaat used their White Mantle puppets to commit horrific sacrifices in an attempt to keep the door of Kamali shut and prevent the Titans from emerging. One site of these atrocities was Gavril, a human village in Janthia Centra, the residents of which the White Mantle had subjugated. When the village was emptied, the Mursaat turned on their White Mantle sycophants. Ultimately, the Mursaat failed. The door of Kamali was opened, the Titans emerged, and the Mursaat fell. The opening of the door of Kamali is the apex of the story of prophecies. We play a refugee from Ascalon who fled its destruction, led by Prince Rurik. We fled across the mountains, we encountered dwarves, the White Mantle, and we are dragged into their conflict between the White Mantle and the Shining Blade, the last vestiges of human control outside the puppet masters of the Mursaat. And we choose the right side. We choose to save the villagers rather than let them be sacrificed. And our journey takes us through the mountains, into dwarf politics, and then to the Fire Island chain, to the door of Kamali, where we unwittingly participate in the jailbreak of Abaddon, the fallen god of secrets and magic. It is, to say the least, rather epic. Mastering Mursaat shadowcraft. The Mursaat practice a kind of magic called shadowcraft, which allowed them to travel through a shadowed pocket of existence within Tyria. Using Mursaat mirrors, they were able to travel long distances in a short amount of time by passing through a shadowed realm. A new mastery line in the new major release will allow the Wayfinder to tap into this same magic after learning more about the Mursaat and exploring the outer ruins of one of their great cities. Now, the trailer will be playing in the back of this video as I'm talking, and having scrutinized it and seen the labyrinthian layout of Babanisos and its surrounding lands, I'm very happy that they're going to be shortcuts. When exploring the ruins of an ancient city, there is going to be a number of obstacles, especially when Guild Wars maps have a wonderful amount of verticality that can be a problem for players. So I'm glad that they're circumventing that with shadowcraft. That sounds incredibly fun. It also sounds very much like the magic system used in World of Warcraft's Venthia faction of Shadowlands. They use mirrors to traverse great distances, kind of shadow step as well. So I'm happy that everyone is stealing from everyone else's homework, because me as a player, I benefit from this. Steal like an artist, people. Steal like an artist. Thumbs up from me. Okay, so let's talk about exploring the Mistburned Barrens. During the events of Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure, we learned that the Mursaat do not originate from Tyria at all. In fact, they are from Naos, the realm of dreams. Yeah, I was very excited to learn that this was the home realm of the Mursaat, and I speculated after we saw the Eye of Janthia in Epak's chamber, his throne room, that Epak seemed too nice a chap almost for all the evil machinations that had been going on, and I speculated that the Mursaat had actually been manipulating him to destroy his own people, to cleanse the realm of Kryptos so that the Mursaat could take over Naos and basically win back their homeworld. Because we also learnt from Mabban and Isgaren's conversations that the Mursaat weren't extinct, they were just off-world. They were exploring the mists where their society continued. So maybe what we find in Baba-Nesos will illuminate whether that speculation was anywhere near the mark at all. We also discovered that the Mursaat weren't entirely extinct. Yes, sorry, I was getting ahead of the post then, as we were introduced to Mabban, a senior member of the Wizard's Court, and our only known Mursaat ally. In the next major release of Guild Wars 2 Janthia Wells, the Wayfinder will explore the ruined outskirts of Baba-Nesos, an ancient Mursaat city built on the battleground where the Mursaat-Seer War finally ended with the Seer's defeat. Oh dear. With their enemies gone and the human gods withdrawn from the world, the Mursaat thrived in Baba-Nesos until the door of Kamale opened. Shortly after that, the Titans attacked and destroyed the city. Mabban, as one of the last remaining Mursaat, had cast a ward over the ruins to preserve its memory, but that ward fell after his death. The city's secrets are now unearthed for all to see. I would be fascinated to see how they're going to tell the story of that battle. Maybe there will be echoes. I know that they talked about ghosts bound to the city as well in another blog post I read today, and maybe they're reliving those battles. It's going to be super interesting to see how the devs tackle all this. There's much to learn about the Mursaat from the newly accessible remains of Baba-Nesos. Studying their last home may provide deeper insights into who they are as a people. Make sure to check back next week for more information about our next major update. We're excited for everyone to dive into this new area, steeped in history, and learn more about the Mursaat. We have only ever heard the tales of the Mursaat from the point of view of their victims. Storytelling is always better when the villain has their own story, when their actions and reasoning are grounded in a greater arc of history. For example, the Mursaat could have been manipulating and sacrificing humans to the Bloodstones because they knew that the dragons would rise again and they were building power in order to save everybody. So that could have been the ultimate motivation behind what seemed to be endless cruelty of the Mursaat. Although there does seem to be a brutal nature to the Mursaat, as told by Mabban during our encounters with him. So that's the blog post, and I think it gives a nice level of information for fresh players coming in who have no experience of the lore. It kind of gets them in the right mindset, it places the Mursaat in the world, gives players a good foundation to understand their nature, enough of their history to make sense of what they're going into without feeling completely lost and bewildered by everything that's going on. Ideally, in the Daddy, I Want a Pony, in the endless money era of Guild Wars 2's studio, of ArenaNet Studio, I would have loved to have all this shown in a beautifully rendered cutscene. And I have often said that I think that at the start of each expansion, especially overlapping narratives, there should be a catch-up TLDR cutscene. But this blog post goes a long way, is very well written, and gives enough information for people to not be just bewildered by what's happening. So yeah, please let me know. What are your thoughts on the blog post? What are your thoughts on them diving back into the Mursaat lore? What do you hope to see? What are you worried about? Let me know all in the comments below. Any thanks to my wonderful supporters over on Patreon and Subscribescar who have supported me through 3 months of content drought. I can't believe I've had flu twice. It's been so rough, but thank you so much for sticking with me.
And of course, many thanks to ArenaNet and their partner program, of whom I am a proud affiliate. Using any of the links below directly supports the channel, but costs you not a penny more, and for free-to-play accounts, not a penny at all.
We have come to the end, so thank you all to my supporters, love you all, and I thank you all for taking the time watching my channel, listening to me ramble about the lore, and I will see you in-game on the 11th of March. Let's have some fun, let's dive back into Guild Wars to explore Baba-Nesos. It's gonna be epic.